All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Apologies, I have been sick for like a week and a half, type of respiratory sinus infection or something. Lost the voice for a couple of days, just felt a little fatigued, down and out. But again, we're still here, we're still trading. If you guys are following the channel, you guys are subscribed, make sure that you guys are checking in with my community tab. I've been posting some of the gains that I've had. Been trading a lot of Tesla, been trading a lot of the QQQs. Um, and it's been going okay considering the market is in a kind of like a weird spot, right? If we kind of really look at what's going on here, let me just kind of adjust this just a little bit. um you know it looked like the market was going to roll over and die, right? And to say the least, I mean, there's still a lot of things going on with Iran and Israel. We have this 2 week ceasefire. Some of the points on the 10-point checklist supposedly have been broken. What do we even believe anymore? This market is so news driven right now. Every single headline is making the market go up. Every single headline is making the market go down. And it's very, very hard if you're a day trader because the volatility is a little bit elevated. So if you guys are trading futures, or if you guys are like myself and you guys are trading options, you guys understand what I'm talking about. And if you are right now, like, let's talk about the last 4 to 5 days. If you guys are looking at some of these gap ups and looking at some of these bounces and you're trying to get short every uptick, more than likely you're getting smoked. Because what's happening right now is you're pulling back a little bit, you're quickly dipping below the level, and then it's kind of shooting back up. Is this the bottom, right? In my opinion, and again, everyone's entitled to their opinion, I do not think that this is the bottom. I think this is another dead cat bounce. I am bracing myself, I am preparing myself, I am positioning myself, I am sizing myself for a potential rug pull. And if the rug pull doesn't happen, that's okay. I'm positioned to also go with the long side. So let's cover a couple of things. I have like reallocated, repositioned myself in my long-term portfolio. So my long-term portfolio was heavily income ETF, high paying dividends. I've kind of slowly taken those dividend payments in things like XDTE, QDTE, RDTE, SPYI. What else did I have in there that was, relatively high payer? JEPQ. Um, there was some others along the way. Was it what was the other one? I think it was MAGY. There was a lot of other things that I was in. I've kind of like condensed a lot of that, trimmed some of those positions down, and right now I'm holding XDTE by Roundhill. I'm holding QDTE, which is one is an S&P 500 covered call ETF. Another one is a NASDAQ 100 covered call ETF. They get paid weekly. So based on how many shares that you own at the end of the week on Friday, typically for those two funds, you get that dividend payment. And again, it could be anywhere between 15 cents a share all the way up to 22, 24 cents a share. Depends on what the volatility is doing, depends on what the market's doing. But I've trimmed those down a little bit. I still have those positions. Those are still my core income drivers. I have added VTI, okay, by Vanguard. So it's the total market, right? So it's a little bit safer. It's not something that's going to pay a crazy high dividend. It's focused a little bit more on growth than just trying to get those weekly dividends. So VTI, and I'm also anchored in some growth because on this pullback that we have had, I want to take advantage of it, but I want to take advantage of it not necessarily where I have to invest in a bunch of single names where I have to go out there and buy the Nvidias, the Apples, the Microsofts of the world. I want, a fund that is managing all of those and tracking the indexes to kind of just, take me up with the market whenever the market chooses to ride up. So the way I'm kind of doing that right now is if that one particular ETF is down 1 to 2%, I buy, okay? And I'm going to continue to do that and watch the overall markets. If we do go into some type of bear market, if the market corrects 20%, 30%, 25%, God forbid, I see some people out there on Twitter calling for a 40% correction. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be 40%, maybe 20, 25%. We'll have to kind of see. Right now, the bulls are kind of stepping up. But again, it is getting a little bit frothy on this dead cat bounce because If I'm just looking at the chart now and we kind of look at this chart, you're going to notice, and if I zoom in a little bit so we can get a better look, you are going to notice that's a little too big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green day closes. Okay. Anytime you move too fast, too north, things are going to pull back. So we are above a lot of supply, which is good. That's going to turn into new support. What I'm looking at here is probably a pullback on the NASDAQ futures, 24,600. That's going to be a big test. First little baby test that we're going to see, 24,900. Okay. 24,750, 24,800. But I'm really looking at this area right here. Okay. I'm really looking at this area right here because this is a bottleneck. It's a bottleneck between the linear regression channel, the 20 SMA, you've got the 50 SMA here, and you've got this rising 20 EMA, 20 SMA. I want to make sure that that holds. Also, I'm kind of looking at the big daddy here, the 200 simple moving average. So I'm really, really focusing on the 50 SMA, and I'm also focusing on that 200 SMA. Even though it seems scary out there in the markets, if we are above supply, the 50 and the 200 SMA, we cannot look to short every single pop. We have to wait for those pullbacks. We've got to buy the dip until we get a definitive closure below the 50-day moving average. So as of right now, a day, 2 days ago, we've reclaimed the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average. Very, very big for the bulls. Again, why? Because of the ceasefire. If, let's say, we wake up tomorrow and there's a headline that the United States, Israel, Iran, everyone is starting to bomb each other again, guess what's going to happen to this market? It's going to drop like an absolute rocket. It's going to drop like a hot potato. Okay. So we have to keep our ears to the headlines. Although I am not a news related driven trader, right now, in these conditions, I am listening and watching and paying attention to the headlines because it's going to be your guide. It's going to be your gauge. If we kind of look back a week ago, we were getting headlines coming out of the Middle East. We were getting headlines coming from Donald Trump's on Truth Social. Seems like almost every 5 seconds. And what I started to notice about a week ago, the market was kind of absorbing higher gas prices, absorbing those higher oil prices. They were absorbing the tensions in the Middle East. They were absorbing a lot of the Trump tweets. And when you start to absorb bad news, that's kind of telling you that sellers are getting a little bit tired. Okay. But we're going to come to a point where the buyers are going to get tired, and it's going to take one headline, true or false, or somewhere in the middle, where the market says, hey, you know what? I don't really like what's going on here. And they start to sell. And because this market is on edge, once they start to sell, if we do get a daily candle that closes back below the 50-day moving average, we've got to look at this rally. We've got to look at this dead cat bounce as nothing more than a dead cat bounce, and now flip to shorts. Okay. And when we flip to shorts, look at the gap ups and look at the bounces intraday as opportunities to short the market. Okay. So things can change on a dime. And I know there's a lot of investors, there's a lot of traders out there who watch people on YouTube, or they read things on the internet, on social media, and they say, well, how come sometimes people say the market's going up, market's going down, market's going down, market's going up? Guys, the market is going to flip-flop on a minute by minute basis, on a headline by headline basis, on a day by day, week by week basis, especially in times that we're in right now. So right now, it is not a full risk on. Let's get back into AI. Let's get back into software, because if you guys have looked at software names, they are getting absolutely destroyed, even still on this dead cat bounce. Look at things like CRM. Look at things like Snowflake. Look at things, like even Microsoft. A lot of software names are still getting absolutely obliterated. Look at things like PLTR getting absolutely obliterated. Okay. So it's still a stock pickers market. What does this have to do with any of you, who those of you guys who trade futures? For those of you guys who are trading futures, if you have half of the index that's going down and can't seem to catch a bid, and you have the other half of the index that has been on a nice 1 week plus rally, what do you think is going to happen to the overall futures market on an intraday basis? You're going to get some ups, you're going to get some downs, you're going to get some downs, you're going to get some ups. So right now, definitely size down. There's no reason to put all your chips on the table and trade 5 mini contracts. Guys, trade 3 or 4 micro contracts. You can catch 20, 30-point moves, get in, get out, make a little bit of cash, stack up those green days for those evaluations. By the way, Apex is on sale. You guys can use my discount code, whatever available best discount that they have right now. If you go down to the description box below and you use my link or you use my discount code DAnthony, they're going to give it to you. But right now, we have to just play this whole market by ear. Okay, we've absolutely got to play it by ear. We have to be prepared. Now, here's what I will say. A lot of the action is coming in the overnight and even Asian sessions. And then what you're getting to start off the New York session, you're getting a big explosive move to the upside or downside, depending on if the gap is up or down. And then you're getting like a lot of chop, right? Like a lot of chop. And then it's like into lunch, after lunch, the market's kind of figuring itself out and then either continuing the move or reversing the move. And in this particular example for the past week, we've been just kind of like continuing the move to the upside, but you got to be very, very careful. Although there's not a lot of supply to the upside, we are due for a little bit of a pullback. Even if that means, I'm not saying, guys, we have to come all the way back down here. I'm not saying that. But even if you get 2 or 3 days of choppiness action where the market is not really closing above the prior day highs, but it's not really closing below the prior day lows, if you want to trade to the long side, or you're an investor, or you are looking to you trade better to the long side, you would actually like to see a few days of consolidation, okay, where the markets and the ranges contract and then look for that explosive move to the upside. Because the bigger the candles are, like this one here and this one here and this one here, the bigger those candles are that you get, you are running the risk for taking that breakout off the open and then getting trapped on a 100, 200 point pullback, okay? Only to get stopped out to see the market consolidate intraday and then, kind of go back up to the upside after lunch. Now, the narrative changes. Again, remember, this is, if you take anything from this video, this is all I want you to take out from this video. Size down, play it smart, keep your eyes and ears to the news and the headlines. I'm not saying to trade short and long every single headline, but just keep your eyes and ears clear to what is going on, right? Have some common sense. And what I'm saying right now is, if the market is trading on a daily chart, on the macro overview, if we are holding the 50 and the 200 SMA, we have to be looking to trade to the long side. Whether you like it, hate it, I don't really care. You got to be trading to the long side. However, it doesn't mean buying every breakout. Let the breakouts go. Wait for a break and retest. Let the breakouts go. Wait for the pullback. Buy it off of support, whether that's a rising 20 SMA support, whether that's a rising hourly, moving average, whether that's a Bollinger Band, whether that's waiting for the dip after lunch or during lunch, whatever you got to do, wait for the dip and then buy the bounce. If something changes and the market starts to get weak and we lose where we close below the 50 and the 200 moving average, full on shorts, we will probably be making a new low. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, play it ear by ear. I personally think that we're going to probably take one more little dipperoo, but I'm open, right? I'm trading actually both sides of this market. I've hit Tesla and the QQQ, both long and short in the same day. So the market is providing opportunities. The market is providing ranges. You do have to be a little bit more patient. You cannot guess. You have to kind of wait for your setup. And then when you get your setup, just fire on it. Just execute on it. Trade it with enough size to where if something bad happens, the trade doesn't work out, you're not going to get absolutely crushed. Hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll see all of you guys on the next one.